On today's show, we discuss Microsoft's unveiling of its new update to Windows 8, BlackBerry envisions a one-device smartphone market, Sony announces its intention to compete with Google Glass, and is Twitter killing RSS? This is the Tech Corner with Jay and Steve. Welcome to the show. I'm Jason Kablowski along with...
And I'm Steve.
And Steve, you're just Steve?
I'm just Steve today.
Okay.
New
All
beginnings.
right.
New beginnings, just Steve.
New beginnings. And speaking of new beginnings, we're on YouTube now. So hello, YouTube. And we will definitely, for our audio podcast subscribers, we'll provide a link to our YouTube channel with this podcast. Eventually, I think we'll turn our webcams on, but for now, I think we're a little bit camera shy, so we're just going to do some audio along with some slides to go along with the show. Now, both Steve and I, for those of you who are joining us on YouTube, are tech guys from Canada, so we're just two guys that are just going to shoot the breeze for a bit.
We're basically nerds. That's
yeah,
we're
exactly.
Yeah.
It gives us a chance to geek out, I guess.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're just going to run through some of the tech stories that have caught our attention over the past maybe few weeks. The first one is that Windows 8 has actually come out with a supposedly an update codenamed Windows Blue, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, in the past, Windows has always provided service packs for upgrades and so forth, and I think they're trying to get away from that. If you look at this update, it kind of does look like a service pack. They're adding a lot of new features.
Yeah.
But essentially, from what I'm hearing, if you're running Windows 8 now, this will just be one of those things that'll kind of show up on your Windows update. You just install it, reboot, and boom, you'll be on Windows Blue.
Yeah.
So some of the features that we're looking at here, they've added some new apps. There's like a movie recorder now.
Cool.
There's an audio app. You can record audio. There's this calculator app. And the customization, they've actually really improved the settings.
Yeah.
It looks like they're kind of trying to get away from the control panel, the old school control panel.
Yeah.
And they want you to do everything in the Windows Advanced settings in the Windows 8 section, like the RT section.
Okay.
So they've integrated some new, you can pick different colors. There are, million customization on what the screen can look like.
Yeah.
And then the other big thing they've really done so far, what I've seen, is integrated SkyDrive more in.
Okay.
It basically goes now that anything you almost save will default. Like, how before when you used to save like a picture, it would always go to default to my pictures or my music or my documents.
Yeah.
Now they're going to reskew everything so everything saves to your SkyDrive.
Ah, okay. And well, I guess that's pretty good too, because then that way, if something actually happens to your computer, your hard drive goes or something like that, everything's already backed up into the cloud. So that's definitely got some perks to it for sure.
Yeah, no, excellent idea. I mean, they've got that, so why not use it? And like I said, people won't lose. I've seen so many people where they, Windows gets corrupt, they get a virus, and boom, they can't get into their systems, and you've lost everything.
Or like me a few weeks ago when I lost my hard drive, and luckily I do hard copy backups. But that's excellent idea for novice users on Windows SkyDrive. I think that's an excellent idea. Then that way it's a little easier to get everything back that way for sure.
But you know what? I applaud Microsoft. I mean, Windows 8 has kind of received kind of lukewarm reaction from people. Like, some people like it, and other people don't like it. But you know what? They're pushing forward with this, and they're trying to make it better. It's only been out since the fall, really.
Yeah.
And they're already doing this big update. So.
But then again, too, sales have been slumping on Windows 8. I think they haven't met their targets yet. So, really kind of paying attention to what user requests are and actually going through and developing updates like this, I think can actually benefit the operating system in the long run. Whether or not Windows is actually going to, stay Windows, is another thing too, because I think, we've discussed on the show before where we're now into a very much of a post-PC era. So it's going to be kind of interesting how Windows kind of develops over the next few months for sure to see exactly what kind of updates are going to be implemented, to see if it's going to be more of a user-friendly environment and what users are looking for versus what Microsoft is imposing on everybody else. So Isn't it, I think it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens over the next few months. I'm pretty sure we're going to see another update as well after this one's rolled out, for
Yeah,
sure.
there's no question, I think, in my mind that eventually the traditional desktop is going to disappear.
Yeah,
They do have to support it, obviously. Microsoft has always supported legacy. They have to. They can't abandon, that for a while yet. But
yeah,
I mean, in the future, I definitely see this as if you looked at Windows 10 years from now,
yeah,
you'd see tiles and that's it.
yeah.
I think they're getting away from it. I mean, like you said, it's the new thing. PCs and laptops are kind of dying out, and we're going to go more tablets and smartphones, and that's the way people are going to get their internet.
Exactly. Now, speaking of that, you saw an interesting interview, I think, with the CEO of Samsung, was it?
No,
Oh,
BlackBerry.
oh, BlackBerry. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So Thorsten Hines, our beloved CEO of BlackBerry here in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
was on ABC, and he was kind of doing some speculation of the future. And he's like, in 10 years from now, um, our phones will be the primary computing device that we're going to be carrying around.
Yeah,
So, in other words, everything else is going to be kind of like a peripheral. So, if you sit down at your desk, you could have a monitor, you could have a keyboard or some kind of input device or whatever we're using at that point,
mm-hmm.
but everything will be still on your smartphone. So everything will be wirelessly communicating with your smartphone, running the OS on your smartphone, saving
Yeah,
all your data on your smartphone.
yeah,
Now, this smartphone you'll be able to carry, anywhere around. Now, if you go to work and you sit in an office, you would
yeah.
just take your smartphone with you, and the minute you get into range of your desk at your office, boom, same thing again, and you're carrying around that same computer, same experience, no matter where you go.
Yeah. Now, that's
Interesting idea.
yeah, yeah. I was just about to say that. Now, that's kind of very interesting, especially, when you get devices that are mobile, you want them to be very, very much interoperable with everything else. Now we've got smart TVs coming out, so there's really kind of a market need, I guess, for a device that basically controls everything. So, when you're looking at going to work, when you're in the range of your desk, all of a sudden your smartphone, boom, turns into your work computer kind of thing.
Hmm.
When you get home, it turns into your entertainment device. That would be actually really, really neat. I'd be really looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, and even like you said with smart TVs,
Yeah,
what if you get close enough to your TV, or you can pick on your phone. Oh, okay, now your TV all of a sudden is the phone, right? So
yeah,
you want to watch, I want to watch this movie, or I want to watch this TV show. Boom, it's actually coming off your phone, but it's displaying on a big 60-inch, OLED monitor.
yeah, yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, like I think that is, you're right. Like you kind of hit it on the head there. Everything in the next, I say, 10 years
Yeah.
is going to be interoperable with each other, and I think that's kind of what the way things are going.
Yeah, and if you look at the new cars now, they're all app enabled. So,
Yep.
like, basically, you can. My mom just got a new car, a new. I can't even remember the name of it, but anyway, it's a newer car, and basically, she can just download an app and start it from her smartphone,
That's cool.
from like a mile away. Like it's all done through the internet, so she can just basically log into her account through the car's servers, and then well, not the car servers, but the car dealership servers or something like that.
Yeah.
And then she can just hit a button and boom, the car starts. Car's warming up, seats are warming up, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So, yeah, we're definitely in that environment for sure. Now, whether or not we're actually going to be holding smartphones is another thing, too.
And that's the thing, eventually there might be inside of us.
Yes,
You never
exactly.
know.
Yeah. But speaking of which, we speaking of the mobile, I guess, developments, Sony has announced that they are going into competitor with Google Glass. They want to develop their own idea around Google Glass. So it's going to be interesting. Now Sony's into it. Basically, the difference between Google Glass and Sony, according to the articles I have read on both, is that Sony will have dual lenses. So
That's cool.
that's kind of cool. I think Google Glass only has one little lens that comes out. I'm pretty sure that, and so yeah, it'll be neat. A new entrance into the wearable technology range. So that'll kind of be interesting to see how that develops, and still there's no word yet. A few weeks ago, there was word on how Google Glasses will not be compatible with people who actually wear glasses, which includes myself. So
Right. I
it's
think you know what,
you
in
know
time that'll correct itself.
I hope so, because it would kind of suck if you needed 20/20 vision to actually wear some of these things.
Yeah.
I think eventually, maybe, it'll just be like a little device that you clip onto your regular glasses that turn your glasses into a display, a HUD display. So I don't know. It'll be kind of interesting to see how this develops and
Yeah,
how
the whole
things go.
Google Glass really intrigues me. I don't know, just the concepts I come up with in my head. I mean, the things you can do with that thing are endless. I mean, and in terms of even Google making money with it with advertising, like say you're walking around and you're hungry and all of a sudden restaurants pop up in your view and they'll
Yeah.
say like McDonald's this way, go to the right,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you
Exactly.
just follow it and
Yeah.
God knows, a McDonald's would definitely invest in something like that,
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure, and competitive prices too. Like I
Yeah.
remember when I was taking broadcasting, there was this thing called the L band receiver, which is the digital receiver. Now that, because of the way the internet has evolved, really kind of didn't go as far as it has. But the internet's taken over a lot of the prospects that the L band has, where basically we were told that the L band would basically, like, if you drive past a store or whatever, and you had like a digital receiver in your fridge, and you plug in the date for the expiry date of your milk. Your fridge then notifies you on your phone or your smart device that you're basically your milk is about to expire, and then tracks where your location is, and then finds you the best price of milk within a certain amount of radius around you. And I think we're kind of headed towards that direction, but more or less with the internet enabled and the smart device enabled things, that we're going to actually eventually, whatever you want is basically going to be around you. You just pull it up and then you search for the best price, or you search for the best restaurant to go to with the best price, with the best meals, and then you're directed towards it. So yeah, definitely, I could see definitely the advertising coming up
Yeah.
with respect to that, for sure. It's going to
It's
be quite
also
the
interesting.
competitive.
I've heard some funny stories with Google Glass. How people are already trying to ban it. Like there was a restaurant there in Seattle that said, oh, they've got a sign up that says, "Do not wear your Google Glass here." And actual physical violence is encouraged for anyone wearing it. So the whole privacy thing does come into it.
Yeah.
The other thing I heard a couple days ago was that they're trying to ban it so you can't drive
Ah.
while you're wearing it because it's a distraction.
Ah.
So, well, that'll be interesting. How's that going to play out? Because, I mean, in a way, it could be a distraction, but in a way, it might not. Because what if you're using a GPS app?
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and that's how is that any different than me driving and just, glancing down at my GPS every once in a while to make sure I'm going in the right direction?
Yeah. Well, with new technology comes new challenges, right?
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
eventually we'll go through it. We'll get through it. I know there was a story I was kind of reading, just kind of on top of that with the privacy stuff, is that journalists are now actually training on how to fly drones.
Hmm.
So that's kind of interesting. Instead of them up in the chopper, they're going to be soon sending out drones to news scenes, to crashes, that kind of stuff. So
Well,
we're definitely heading to the autonomous age. That's for
yeah,
sure. But we need to, with any new technology, there's going to be new challenges ahead of it, and eventually we'll work out a balance. I think that's pretty much, it's the same thing when we had with cell phones.
right.
Cell phones. Everybody was talking on their cell phone and texting, and that was creating problems on the road. So laws were introduced to, especially here in Ontario, to basically ticket anybody who's on their cell phone while driving, and that makes sense. And I think we'll eventually kind of get stuff like that with Google Glasses. If you're wearing Google Glasses or something and it's too distracting, and if it is causing problems on the roads, then obviously laws will be implemented with respect to that. So,
Right.
Yeah, so speaking of Google, RSS, there was a big stink a couple weeks ago about Google's our RSS reader, well, the Google reader. Basically, Google wanted to get rid of it because they weren't making any money off of it. Now, interesting that a lot of people that supported RSS are like up in hands about it. They're like, oh, sky is falling. This is going to kill RSS. To be quite honest with you, I don't use Google Reader. I never really have. I used it, I think, once, and I couldn't actually delete some of the subscription feeds that I had on there. They kept coming back for some reason. So for me, it was a kind of a no-brainer just to move to a third-party app. I use a lot of RSS on Outlook. Is basically where a lot of my RSS feeds are.
Right.
And not only that, too, every smartphone platform has a free RSS reader. Like if you search on iTunes or if you search on Google Play, there's tons of apps out there that will allow you to actually read your RSS feeds. So I don't really see it actually killing the RSS. I think basically what is killing RSS is social media like Twitter. You know,
Yeah, because they're the big aggregate now. I mean,
yeah,
you
and
know.
it's really kind of moved over. Like RSS was, an instant feed. Like I still kind of use both. I use Twitter and RSS for my news stuff. So it's Twitter's more instant. RSS is more kind of delayed. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Twitter, you can get a tweet from like if you're following like tons of news people, you can get you'll know right away when something big is going to happen before the actual story is actually written and thrown up onto an RSS feed. So it's kind of instant news on Twitter compared to a delayed reaction on RSS. But the delayed reaction on RSS, like blogs and stuff like that, I still really like to read my blogs, really like to, um, uh, you know, read what I'm subscribed to through RSS. I don't think I'll be giving RSS up anytime soon just because Google got rid of it. There's still, and not only that, too, our government's actually using RSS. Environment Canada is using RSS to communicate uh, with the population for weather events, like extreme weather events or weather warnings. All that stuff is done on RSS now. So you have to actually have an RSS subscriber or an RSS reader to get any weather updates from Environment Canada, that kind of stuff. So
Right. I've never been a big RSS guy. Like the only time I've ever tried it was in Outlook.
yeah,
And like you said, there was a bit of a delay. I mean, I'm kind of old school and I just keep my 4 or 5 web pages open that
yeah,
I like and just constantly hit refresh maybe every hour and just if I'm at my computer just to see what's new. But I did notice there was a delay. I mean, I go to my favorite tech site and see all this new stuff and the RSS it wouldn't come through until maybe 20 minutes later,
yeah,
which is not a big deal, but
yeah,
like you said, there is that delay. And yeah, I mean, you know, I'm I'm on Twitter, and I follow my favorite blogs and my favorite tech news and
yeah.
so forth, and the major news. So, like you said, that's instant. I get it when I want, and yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of people up in arms about it, but
Yeah. I think it's more or less say, if that many people are using RSS, and they're up in arms about it, well, like use another third-party application.
yeah,
I think it's a strike against Google if they're not going to actually support it. Then other people will move to other third-party apps. It's just if it's in demand, that's what they'll do. But I do agree that RSS is somewhat starting to die off. A lot of the reason is because of, I believe, Twitter.
yeah,
And Twitter did have. I know you were able to subscribe to people's tweets through RSS. I think they got rid of that about a year ago. I'm pretty sure they actually got rid of the RSS feeds on your tweets. So it's scaling back, but it's not like going to kill the RSS. I think what's killing it is a move towards more instant access, more through social media, more instant kind of news stories and whatnot. But I still subscribe to my RSS feed.
I
So
almost wonder, do you think Google's going to give up the source code and let someone else just kind of take it over and see what they can do with it?
I think with Google Reader, no. I think there's a lot of RSS is pretty much it's pretty much a code that you can get in. Anybody who knows XML can pretty much do an RSS website up. So it's not that much of a big deal. But I think you're going to see a lot of app developers, if there is a need for it. You're going to see a lot more app developers do a lot more interesting things with RSS. I think innovation, with RSS needs to come into play here at some point. It needs to be kind of integrated with everything. So
Yeah.
that's where I think things are going to end up. You'll end up with maybe an app that does all your subscriptions, RSS, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. It'll be all integrated into one app.
Yeah.
That's that. I think we're going to see several apps that are going to offer that for sure in the future.
Right.
I think that's it for this week. Don't forget to like the video if you have listened to us and you like us. Don't forget to also subscribe on YouTube. And just a reminder to our audio podcast users, at the end of April, we'll be cutting off our audio podcast subscription. So please subscribe to us on YouTube. The link will be embedded in the blog for this podcast. So I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you next week.